Okay, hi everyone. We are going to be talking about purchasing goods and supplies for this month's Coffee and Conversation. Here is our agenda. We're going to go through different payment mechanisms for purchasing supplies, and then we are going to test our understanding, and then we have a few housekeeping items for general CAIANH fiscal things. So most of today's presentation is going to be talking about how to make these purchases, but just to start, of course, we need to first decide whether or not they're allowable, considering both university and sponsored project policies. And to do that, of course, you'll go to the form stack and you'll fill out no matter what you're purchasing, you'll start there, and it will guide you for if it is a sensitive expense, and it'll guide you to fill out this unallowable and sensitive cost justification form. And that form, I had an animation, this is gonna work, yeah. So that form is very tiny, but it's gonna guide you to that form for two different reasons. Those top bullets are for if there's sensitive expenses on sponsored projects, and those bottom two are more for mechanisms that are usually unallowable at the university. So for any of those reasons, it'll guide you to fill out that form, and that'll give you us the context for why you think that purchase should be allowable. We'll read that form, approve it if it is allowable, and then you should attach that form to your reconciliation at the end. And just so you know that this isn't just like useless work, we do use this at the end of every year for every project. They send us account codes that are sensitive, and we need to justify why we deemed those expenses allowable. And I use these forms to get that context. And then even more so, like, 5 years down the line, if we get audited, there's no way I can remember a $20 purchase. So we use these forms to justify that. So just to keep that in mind for the different purchase mechanisms for supplies, we'll start with that form. So this is what we're going to go through today. These are the 4 different mechanisms, and they're going to be in order of preference by the university of how we want to be purchasing expenses. So now I'm going to pass it to McKenna.
And this is a condensed version of a visual aid that I made for myself when I was first starting, and it is on the intranet if you are a visual learner and just want something to reference. Okay, so starting with Marketplace, this is the preferred method of purchasing by the university and by us for several reasons. First, you do get a guaranteed tax exemption, and there are university-wide price agreements in place, so you know you're getting a good price on what you're purchasing. And everything that's in Marketplace is compliant with applicable university rules, so it takes a lot of the guesswork out. And then probably most important for you all is there's no additional expense reports if you purchase through Marketplace. So it does mean less work for you, which is always nice. So you all in the room might be the most familiar with the punch out catalog in Marketplace, which I'll talk about in a second, but really the fiscal team uses Marketplace to track subcontractor and scope of work payments for accuracy. This is tied to the MFIN system, and so it helps us with our reporting, and so that's a lot of what we use Marketplace for. And when we are approving purchases, we are looking for appropriateness of the purchase. If there is that sensitive expense form stack approval attached, if it's a sensitive expense, and then we check to make sure the accounting information and the speed type are correct. So I will approve purchases that are less than $10,000. Again, typically from that punch out catalog. So these are like HIPS technology purchases, office supplies or furniture, things like that. And then Sarah Horwitz will approve any purchases greater than $10,000 and all scope of work and subcontract payments. Okay, so Amazon was not included in the visual aid, but is listed here because it is an available option for purchasing, but we don't recommend that you use it if you can get away from it, because especially the deliveries can be kind of challenging to coordinate. So you do need to be a shopper or requester in Marketplace or have a P card and access to an Amazon business account to use this in the first place. And the reason why it's not recommended by the Procurement Service Center, we did ask them about this last week, and because there's not a centralized distribution team on the Anschutz campus, it's really hard to coordinate the deliveries. Not all the drivers, they're all coming from different companies. They don't have badges to get into buildings. And so packages can get lost or just like, we don't know where they were delivered to. So for that reason, we do recommend going to Marketplace whenever possible. And if you do have to deliver, order something through Amazon, be sure that you do not use the lockers that are on campus. Those are not available for the Amazon business accounts. And then just try to give yourself some lead time if possible in case there is a delivery issue or, you know, it seems like it's getting lost and you need to track it down. Always check the first floor mailbox. That might be a common place where they would deliver them. And then if you can, leave detailed delivery instructions for the driver, because again, it could be any number of delivery drivers who are bringing it. You can even instruct them to leave it at that first floor mailbox. Any questions so far about Amazon? Does that? And we did, like I said, Sarah and I talked to the PSC last week and they're getting a lot of complaints about Amazon. And so the campus is aware that the lockers are kind of an issue. So it sounds like there are conversations ongoing about how to make Amazon a little bit easier, but for now, that's kind of where things stand.
Yeah, I'm still kind of new, but
Yeah.
are the first floor mailboxes, like you have to badge in to get to them?
No.
Well, you have to badge in the building, but yeah.
It's just on the north side of, like by that north entrance. You know where the all gender restrooms are down there? Like just past those, there's a mail room. And there's like a little table space that you can leave large shipments or Amazon shipments down there. They have to badge into the building, but they don't have to badge into that room, so. But if they're not sure,
But how would they badge into the building?
some of them have badge access or can be let into the building. The problem is that when they get into the building, if they can't find you, they don't look very hard and they just put it wherever.
Yeah.
Like they just literally put it wherever. Like we found them under the catering tables, we found them in the first floor on the reception desk under there.
Yeah.
It's just random. So maybe a better alternative is to just have them delivered to that first floor mailroom.
Okay.
So in addition to that one, so that's mailbox is from the USPS. Normally that is will deliver to the facility department and somebody that will bring it to us and put it in the mailbox for us if it delivered by USPS.
Okay.
Occasionally you have an Amazon package, something you ordered on Amazon that will come by USPS and it'll always make it to the mailbox. Like it's like really reliable. But if it's coming by an Amazon carrier, you just don't know if you'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. It's like at least 70% of the packages are lost. And we just never know where they end up.
Yeah, I have a problem with that too. When I start with Amazon delivery, then I lost a package. But there's an option in Amazon that you can set up the time that the date and time that they deliver. Well, make sure that you're on campus on that day, then they will contact you if they don't have access to the
That's helpful.
Yeah,
That's good
for
to
the
know,
business.
yeah.
And just to be clear, you're not allowed to put your home address as the delivery address to like circumvent. any
Yeah,
of
it
this.
needs to come here, yes. This is past purchase of the business account, yeah.
So anyway, it's allowable, but it's at your own risk, I guess.
The transitions.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the first floor mailbox key is on the third floor next to the file, like the mail file folders. We learned this last week, Nancy and I did. She was trying to find an Amazon package that was missing, so.
All right, so next is the procurement card or the P card. So this is the university's credit card program and gives some flexibility for purchases $5,000 or less when marketplace is not an option. So this would be like food for an official function or respondent compensation. And as usual, you do need to complete the form stack prior to purchasing, and that's linked at the end of the presentation. And there is a $5,000 limit on the P card, but if you do need a one-time increase to your P card, you can apply for that in Concur, and we will review it and, you know, approve it if it seems necessary. So we did want to update everyone on updated supports that are coming for the P card. So Sarah is working on a new SOP, And then I'm going to start sending out calendar reminders for like the 25th of every month to submit the P card reports. Those P card reports are due every 30 days if you purchase something in that window. So we're hoping that this will just help us provide consistent guidance to everyone and have everything like documented and written in one place. And then take some of the guesswork out of you having to remember, oh, it's been 30 days and I have to submit. So this will definitely be an iterative process, and we want feedback if it's not helpful or if there's something else we can do. But the intention is to help you all with staying on top of those reports. So just some reminders listed here. The full list of like unallowable purchases and transaction types is linked at the end of the presentation in the handbook. But just remember I think the biggest one here is there's that $5,000 limit. You can't split a purchase to circumvent that limit. So you can't pay for, if it's a single purchase, that's $7,000, you can't do 5,000 and then 2,000 on two different transactions. That would not be allowable. And if it's found in Marketplace, you can't use your P card, so just check Marketplace first. No sharing it, no personal expenses, and make sure that any Colorado purchases are tax exempt. So again, all of this is listed in a lot more detail in the handbook that is linked at the end.
Question, did you say so we have to complete a form stack before we use the P card? Is that what you had mentioned in the beginning?
Yeah, just to like make sure that it's not one of those sensitive expenses.
Okay.
So if you're,
Does that like come with like a report after like this?
yeah,
allowable?
sometimes it'll just say, okay, go ahead and purchase it.
Okay,
So if you're purchasing the same thing every month, you definitely don't need to click through the form stack each time. But if you're purchasing something new, we would recommend, yeah.
gotcha. Another question, like the no sharing P card. I'm just curious, because I know not everybody has P cards, like if somebody has an event that they're catering, are we not allowed to like, okay, hey, Erin, can I use your P card to do this or no?
Yeah, technically, if someone doesn't have a P card, the fiscal team should purchase for you with
Okay.
our P card. So that would be Lisa. So make sure you like gave her a treat or something before you asked, and then you can see if she's willing to help you out. Yeah.
Same question with the mandate about the no sharing P card. I come across with one thing that since that Sarah got approved for me to purchase the software for Renavigate, the problem is that they only require the user to purchase that one, and they cannot purchase it on their behalf. If Renee do not have the P card, can I just have her use mine or just come to you to get that P card?
That's a good question. I think it's fine if you make that purchase, but more like don't hand her the card.
No, that's what he's
It's-
asking, isn't it? Or use.
I can
She's gotta
work with
log
her
in.
to fill out the credit card at the same time with her.
Yes, I guess it's not allowed.
So she needs her own P card.
She would need her, yeah,
Isn't
but
this
for
where
one
they're like-
purchase once a year.
Didn't they say
Yeah.
that? Then you can always cancel it when
Yeah.
you're
it's the
done
same
using
thing.
it.
Fill out an application,
Yeah.
take 2
Go
hours,
through 8 hours of training.
buy this one thing.
Buy this one thing.
Can't
once a
the
year.
fiscal
Wait
team
for
just
6 weeks
purchase
for your
it
card.
as
You
you
can
go?
then decide they all leave it.
I mean, I guess if Renee gives us her login, we could do it, but.
Or if he does it over Zoom.
Over
or in the
Zoom.
same room. I think in this case, we'll get back to you, but I think
Okay.
the way that you're doing it now is fine, as long as you're not like writing down the account
Okay.
and emailing it to her or giving her
Yeah, I
a
would
with
do
it
that,
on
but I
it,
would-
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the same thing that doing Zoom and have her log into her account and I'll put in my credit card and.
Yeah. But I'll double check about that, but
Okay,
I think
sounds
for
good.
now, that sounds okay.
It seems reasonable.
Yeah.
It's just some departments like have one P card that they just pass around. They don't
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we don't wanna like keep a P card in the drawer that everybody can, yeah, which we definitely do not do, yeah.
Okay, I guess I have a follow-up question
Yeah.
too. The Colorado purchases, so if you purchase something that's like a conference fee or something, that's in another state, it doesn't have to be tax exempt?
That wouldn't be tax exempt, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have like supplies that are delivered here, it should be tax exempt, or if you buy anything that is here.
We paid like a journal, like a submission fee or whatever that was in like Britain, and we were like, yeah, you can't charge us tax. They ended up not doing it, so that was.
Yeah, that was probably a
So I
mistake.
didn't have to go through
No,
that.
that was a mistake. Yeah,
Okay.
we just kind of clarified that, yeah,
Okay,
because
cool.
it's confusing with online, but yeah,
Okay.
thank you for.
Way to
doing
work
this.
hard for that deal. Good questions. Anything else on the P card? Okay. Okay, so I kind of talked about this already, but make sure you're submitting every 30 days your report if you purchase something in the last 30 days. Keep your receipts for purchases over $25, and then if there's a sensitive expense form stock approval or anything, attach that with your report. And then we did want to remind folks to save your reports on the G drive here in this path. And I can also include this as a reminder again when I send out the new SOP process and everything, so people have it in a couple places. The Procurement Service Center will issue point deductions for violations for the things that were listed on the last page. So, you know, cash transactions or buying liquor or something on it, things like that. So we don't want anyone to lose their P card. Lisa, as we've discussed, does not love purchasing things for people. So try to maintain, you know, your full points on there. And you could get a 6-month suspension if you get 150 or more violation points. And then I think I sent this to everyone who has a P card, but if you didn't get it or you need help, the instructions are listed here to have me be listed as your new approving official. Pretty straightforward. I've gotten a few requests, but if you have any questions about that, just let me know and I can look into it. Okay. See how closely you've been paying attention? So this example, I just tried to fit a lot of the things we talked about into it. So just stick with me here. So you want to pay for catering for an on-campus event using sponsored project funds. What do you need to do for that to happen? So anyone who has the answer or thinks they have an answer, just shout it out. And to get approval, there's 2 steps that we're looking for here. So what do you think those 2, one will come much before you're actually requesting the purchase? Yep, that's one of them. For official function, yeah. Okay, the other one is you need to make sure that food was allowed in the sponsored project budget to begin with. So thinking far ahead, if you know you're going to plan this type of event, we'll want to have that documentation when we approve the form stock. Try to trick you there a little bit. Okay, so let's say this is a lot of people, you're feeding a lot of people at this event. If it's over $5,000, can you purchase that on your P card?
With approval. Right?
You could seek the one-time approval to increase it up to $10,000. Yes,
But
that's,
it takes a while, so you'd have to do it
yeah.
way in advance.
So yes, the other option would be we'd have to create a requisition in Marketplace and go that direction. But so maybe, depends on how far ahead you're thinking. Okay, and then any other cost considerations, those of you that use P cards more frequently, that you might think about when you're specifically like purchasing food for an event, anything else you might consider?
I was gonna say tax.
Alcohol, yeah.
Price per person, right? Isn't that like an issue?
The
Like,
official function.
Yeah, with the official function, yeah, that's definitely.
Can I,
Tax exempt?
what?
Is
groceries
food?
are.
Yeah. So like
I don't know
prepared
if
food.
it was happening on campus, they still, oh, if they're paying for it, if it's free for the people attending, there should not
Yeah,
be
which we don't
tax.
usually have.
Yeah,
What about, can I get it delivered? Can I pay delivery fee?
yes, you can.
But not to
Can
the
I-
Amazon lockers.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't do that.
You can, you just might not get the food.
Can I get a delivery driver?
you get it, it's rotten.
If we tip the delivery driver,
1%.
It's up to.
Up to.
Yeah.
up to 20%,
Great.
yep. A big consideration is like, do they even take credit card payments? So we'd want to make sure that they accept credit card payments before you purchase on your credit card. Okay, and then last question here, when would you need to submit your P card report after the event? 30 days, good job. We don't want you to have to pay taxes on that. Good job. Okay. Last, I think, slide for me, and then I am done talking for a second. So travel card, I'm not gonna spend a ton of time here because we spent like 2 months of coffee and conversations on travel. So refer back to that if you still have questions. But as the name suggests, you will pay for most of your travel related expenses with your travel card. Again, you can't, no sharing of the travel card with other employees unless it is approved group travel. For guest or non-employee travel, just make sure it's not related to work that's already covered in their scope of work, and then you'll book their airfare just like you would an employee. There is the $3,500 limit on a travel card, and your reports, similar to P card, assign them to me as the new approving official, and that's what it should look like. I have heard that a couple people are having trouble finding me, so I'm working with the PSC to resolve that. So if you have any issues, let me know, and I'll stay on top of that.
Meeting, what's up?
Okay, oops, sorry. Okay, this is my last, and then I'm switching to Lisa. Okay. So lastly, the personal card. So you can use your personal card when you're traveling, especially. All purchases are subject to university, federal, and CAIANH guidelines. And you can use your personal card during travel if you don't have a travel card, especially if you don't travel very often. Just remember your purchases won't be reimbursed until your trip is complete. Mostly is going to be for your personal food while traveling. And then if you do purchase anything outside of food, make sure you have a receipt that you attach to your report if you want reimbursement for that. Questions on travel card or personal card?
If we have non-employees traveling on a project, do you prefer, like, cause the last slide about the travel card, like you can do it for a non-employee, but do you prefer them to do, or is it just like up to them? Is there a preference, I guess I'm asking, from the fiscal team of should I pay for the lodging, the airfare and stuff with the travel card for that person? And or is it better to have them just do it all on their personal card and just say, we're gonna cover you at the end? Like, is there a preference?
I think it's kind of up to the employee, right? Like if they feel like they can front the money, then put it on their personal card. But as we all know, it does take some time to get the reimbursement. So if that's not financially available to them, then you can
Use the travel card.
use
But like with the
And then-
airfare, you have to go through CBT,
Oh, yeah.
right?
for like airfare, yeah.
But,
And
and then, yeah.
And you can book a hotel
Yeah.
through Concur too. So that would take care of like the bulk of the purchases, and if they could just like do food and transportation that might be needed on their personal card, that could work. But again, if they don't feel like they can cover that cost, then
I just don't wanna get my hand slapped if I was like, yeah, just have them use their personal card.
yeah.
You're like, no, like you make them use the travel card or vice versa, you know, I just didn't know if there was a preference on your end, if it made a difference, so I just wanna make
A
sure.
lot of non-employees do it when they go to like conferences. They just fill out a travel reimbursement. when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
come.
Yeah, I think the travel card
For
use is
Uber.
probably more rare,
Mhm.
especially if you're also traveling. I think staying within that 3,500 would be.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right.
Yeah, most people seem to use their personal cards.
The big things I see on non-employee travel reimbursements are Ubers, baggage fees, mileage.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Amanda, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. Just very
I was
engaged.
done.
Just eager all about
Yeah.
that.
Okay, Lisa,
Oh,
you're up.
for technology, see it. Oh, there's this, how do you get? rid of
Oh,
that?
yeah, I just,
Okay, thank you. All right, technology could be anything from this thing to computers to anything. So the first thing that you'll do, of course, is
Stack.
Warm Stack. Please make sure that you always get prior approval before you purchase anything or try to purchase anything. It's usually you, Sarah, huh, that reviews the form stack
Yeah,
for
Mira McKenna.
technology, Euro
Yeah.
McKenna. Sarah McKenna will review it, and if it's approved, of course, HIP will order all the technology pieces. We were talking about this the other day, and I know it's always been like, for example, if you're purchasing a computer and you're gonna use it across projects, make sure that you don't just put it on the one. You have to split it across your projects that you're purchasing it for. And like I said, meet with HIP, of course, prior to purchasing. He will always give the best suggestions on what he thinks, you know, the type of computer that you need. Go ahead, Jared.
So what if you buy a computer on a project? You use it for that project is done. I bought a computer for the R21. I'm still using that computer now for the RO1.
There's no way we
The-
could.
Unanswerable
We
question.
don't know.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure no one's gonna come back and be like.
It's fine. When a project retires and you move to a new project, like that computer, because it, you know, it now becomes university property, so then it's fine to be then used on a
Okay.
new project. I know there's probably another question you're gonna ask and we don't know the answer.
Sweet. Just let that one live.
Yeah.
It's being actively debated.
Yeah.
We're like trying to
Yes,
figure out the
yeah.
best approach to it. It's really
So-
tough.
What about that? So JD complete his project and he still keep that computer and he has another project coming up which means that he can use that project to purchase another computer. So can he return that one to the university hall? I mean property so we can distribute that one to someone else who need it?
Yeah, like we've got a bunch of these
No,
tablets
I
that we're
mean-
not gonna use anymore.
And
Can I
then
just be like,
Part of the problem is that you're not 100% on one project, so you can't charge 100% of your computer to that project, even if you have a line item that says you can buy a computer. The allocation rule by the, you know, the
Yeah, yeah,
university's allocation rule says you can't, you can only allocate it to the percent that you're on that project.
We spent hours talking, Aaron and I have spent hours talking about this,
Ridiculous.
yeah.
Talked about
It's
that.
ridiculous.
But the answer, I think it's still, part of it also is like not getting so stuck in the wording of the rules, but also just like thinking about what's reasonable. So it wouldn't really be reasonable to like circumvent a rule by like, oh, well, this project has the allowability for a bunch of computers and a bunch of iPads, so we'll buy them all there and then we'll retire them and then give them to another project. Like that's not quite fair. So we're still trying to be reasonable but not be insane, which is the problem, is that the way that the rules are usually explained are like, yeah, it's like just,
You'd never be
you
able to buy a
can't apply
computer.
it. Yeah, so that's what we're struggling with.
also on that note, I know this is probably more about purchasing rather than like some of these rules, but like. When is the recommendation for? Cause like, not just me, but like PRAs and a lot of folks are like walking around with computers, it's like the running joke for everybody is like. My computer just dies randomly in a Zoom meeting,
And
I
that's-
can't pull up Excel, like.
That's why we're having this
Good
conversation is,
question.
yeah,
Yeah, so-
but
We've talked about this with him.
Okay, cool.
What did we decide on Hep, do you remember? 3
Every
years?
20 years. That's what we're currently operating at.
That's our goal, is to phase out computers after 3 years, but it's a goal right now because we can't do it. Yeah. We're trying to figure it out because we agree that technology needs to keep up and 3 years makes sense relative to the warranty, et cetera. But we have to figure out how to do that.
Alright, sorry. I know it's a sticky,
Can of
weird.
worms, yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I have a
Yes.
question. When are we getting our like, can I get a tablet?
I retired it to the university. Go for it. Sorry.
If we paid our computers, but there's no funding for new computers, could we purchase our own computer and then just have like HIP do all the fancy stuff to it? If
Sarah, you've done that. right?
Well, first of all, that is also depend on that what kind of computer that you are purchasing. So university require only certain model for that one. So if you want to use your personal fund for that one, then it's okay. Then I consider that, but it's have to be the same model with the university.
Okay.
You can't go and buy like a Chromebook.
Yeah, that's
like,
right,
doesn't have
exactly,
it.
yeah.
I don't know who wants to do that. My fifth grader hates her Chromebooks.
Yeah, but so the best thing is that if you use your personal computer for university work, then again, that does have to be the same model to comply with security thing. So, but I know that there are some of us that not using the computer for that one, but I think that is kind of okay for now.
I think it also depends on your project, Emily, because there are questions related to human subjects and other considerations in your project where they might not want you using something that has personal information or has people have access to the personal information. Like, say you take it home and put it up in your kitchen and your kids can access it and Jared can access it. You might not be allowed to have study related information or project related information on the same computer. Just like all the rules that they have around in here, like on your, if you get a computer from the university, there's rules about what you can access and not access. And that's the reason for it, is the security of, for the university's information and study information. So, just something to check. It may not apply to you, it may be fine.
Alrighty, good question.
We expected this, so.
So for example.
She was trying to rush through, like not get the questions.
If your computer needs updated software, of course, go through HIP, and if there's available funding, Sarah or McKenna will look at that and approve it. Same with software licenses, just like we were mentioning, HIP was mentioning a little bit ago. The purchasing of those not usually will go through HIP. And if he's unable to, like we discussed, use his P card, we'll find other ways to do that.
I have a question about that. If you get a software license every year, do you have to fill out the form stack every year?
Yes.
There's a,
Yes.
yeah, usually, because it
We talked
prompts
about
us,
that.
yeah.
Just making sure everybody knows
Yeah.
that, even if you do it every year, we still have to.
Because otherwise we won't know.
Yeah.
Alrighty, check your understanding. You need to purchase, we probably already talked about this,
Nice
right?
tries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we already.
Yeah.
discussed
yeah, I
this.
feel like we've
Yeah,
kind of talked about this, but okay, let's talk about the second one. Can you, just so if we get audited, we're on record as talking about this. Can you allocate your technology to the project with the largest remaining budget? No.
If you can do it just.
Can you allocate it to the project that's ending the soonest, because you need to spend that money before the grant runs out?
Only.
if only.
That's a big no.
Okay, this is a little sort of off the topic, but we just wanted to remind people, Sarah sent out an email a couple weeks ago about fiscal year and reminders for due dates. So probably the most important one here is concur reports. So make sure that you get those in by June 20th at 6 p.m. I will not be working until 6 p.m. I guess they just have to be in, so they don't need to be approved by then. So if you submit it after like 5, that's fine. I'm just gonna trust that you did. I am gonna send out reminders like a week before, again, just in case. I know there's a lot going on, just so it's a little bit easier for people to remember. But if you have any questions, just refer back to that email that Sarah sent out, I think on the 28th or 29th.
Holly, can you ask the question that you asked in the inbox? Do you remember, right? That was you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have travel after June. Yes, if we need to get all of that figured out before.
The answer.
So basically like start the report. So it's started in this fiscal year, and then once the travel is actually done, then you can like finalize and submit the report with like your Uber receipts or whatever else. But then that way the flight information is saved in the current fiscal year.
And the key is that you're assigning it to the project speed type,
Right.
because if you keep it as the 2.9 speed type that it hits automatically, then it'll hit that, and then we have to physically move those expenses onto the project speed type. So the key is to pull it into a report and put it on your project speed type.
Does the report have to be dated July 1st or after?
What does it say?
No, it has to be,
Yeah, it does.
It does,
oh yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah. and change the date.
It's like all just to the end of the fiscal year. So you're just pretending the end of the fiscal year is June 20th or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything after that, you're gonna put in July. So end of the fiscal year for P card and travel purposes is gonna be June 20th. Anything after that is gonna be July 1st.
So like we just have to like create the report and, cause I've got a trip beginning of July.
Right, yeah.
And so like I already have a flight booked, so just create a report already, but not submit it until after.
And assign it to the right ski type, yeah.
And yours will, the date will already be right, because
Right.
it'll be July 1,
Yeah.
after July 1.
Right, yeah, I forgot about all those people going to that conference. Yeah,
When did you see?
okay, we have
Dallas.
9 minutes. All right, we're gonna do a game. Sarah created this for me and it was actually kind of helpful. I mean, very helpful.
And just-
I think So it was kind of helpful because of my brain, not Sarah.
What Sarah does for fun.
Her version of fun, yes, exactly. Okay, so the purchasing avenue is color coded at the top, and then as I click each of these boxes, it will turn the color of how you purchase it. So shout it out. We only have a few minutes to get through this, so we gotta get going. Okay, so where would you go to purchase a hotel for a non-employee?
Could be 3 options.
Yeah, Concur, travel card, one person.
I guess they're first.
That's a pride.
The,
That's
what's
pride
the
path.
preferred method
Preferred.
method.
Oh,
or easiest?
Personal card, I think is the easiest to reimburse, but
I said travel cards, so, but you guys are
All
right.
answers
Also
are right.
concur. Yeah, those are all right. Okay, how about non-employee reimbursement? Where does that get submitted? Ooh. Form tech's not an option, so what's after that? Yeah, assuming the form tech has already been reviewed and going. through the
Lisa submits it to concur.
process.
Yeah, Lisa, just send it to
Yes.
Lisa.
Okay, how about, you need a new office chair. Where would you go to purchase that?
Marketplace.
Yeah, oh, we didn't talk about this distinction that, so the catalog is like when you go shopping at Staples or whatever. BPO or payment voucher is like, I'm
Like
not gonna
paying
tell
an
you.
invoice,
Yeah,
yeah.
paying an invoice. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so. Ta-da! Contract catalog, okay. How about technology?
Hard.
Yep.
And the asterisk means that it's.
I don't.
He will purchase with his P card, but it is purchased via the punch out catalog. That both answers are
Either
also
both are
correct,
true,
yeah. Okay, how do subcontract invoices get like the final approval once the form stack has been submitted and reviewed and everything? Let's talk about this, yes. So this is gonna be the payment voucher BPO option, and that's what Sarah reviews and approves once Lisa adds it to Marketplace. Okay, how about catering for an on-campus event? Yeah, nice.
It's under 5,000.
Yeah.
Or. Under 10,000.
You're
I'm just saying.
yeah. I can only do one color at a time on these. on these options, so.
I do have a quick question about the catering.
Yeah.
Is that $5,000 for one expense or $5,000 total for the month?
Maybe total for the month, because it's just like a regular credit
Okay.
card.
I'm just thinking ahead of a conference for next year, if I'm having to pay for a P card, I'll plan ahead.
Yeah.
Is it per transaction?
Yeah,
I
Oh,
think
it's
the
not?
credit limit is probably 12,000.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's
Rhonda hit her 5,000, we had to wait the month to
Oh,
start.
really?
So I thought it was like per month, is it not?
No, it's per transaction, but it
She
sounds
must have
like
had
some
other
people might
things.
have different,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
So Amanda, that'd be a great
Appro-
reason
approval
for
notes.
you to apply for a hire.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
cause when we were
justifiable.
talking about this, cause official functions, if, let's say there's 3 meals over 3 days, that's 3 official functions.
Yeah.
Right, so that would be, so each of those technically, if they're under $5,000 would be 3.
Oh, yeah, you could
Or
still
like
purchase
those would be
it.
3 transactions, even if they're $49.99 or whatever.
You just have to have enough money on your card.
I think that you can look
Yeah.
online to see what your limit is, yeah.
definitely kind of call them.
Yeah.
That's Spain.
Okay, how about if you need to print posters for presentation? This is kind of a short question.
Car.
I'm like,
No,
that's
it's gonna be
nice.
up P card. Good job.
That was my plan.
Something that comes up with printing posters is like whether or not we should use on campus or not. So if you can use either for printing posters, but you should be, if you can make the copies on like site, like in the printer, do that here. And so we don't like to see copies happening while you're traveling. So we shouldn't see a poster being printed on a travel card, but if it's a extenuating circumstance where you needed to do that, it is allowable, but we don't want to see that as a habit. Okay.
Just like with all these, there's not only one right answer, so. Okay, oh shoot. All right.
They knew that one.
Yeah. Okay, how about a hotel for employee travel?
Concur or travel card.
What did I say? Let's find out. Travel card, okay, but also you could do concur. Okay, food while traveling.
Crossroads is not on.
Crossroads, Martin.
Yeah.
Personal card, okay, how do we pay consultants? Scope of work payments, how the final payment gets approved and routed to where?
Lisa?
Yeah.
Lisa puts it into Marketplace
Lisa, Sarah,
or Sarah to approve, yes. Okay, gummy bears for a program, the asterisk means there's a consideration.
Special gummy bears.
Yes.
Those have not been approved by any grants that I'm seeing.
What's her name?
There's actually some studies that are actually looking at,
So they could buy them?
they probably could.
Yeah.
It's like Ashley Brooks Russell. She
Yeah.
just got another grant to do, she's gonna get a bunch of 65-year-olds and older high and then put them in the driving simulator.
It's like, oh my God.
So she's like, if you know 65-year-olds that wanna get high, send them my way.
Retirees with you.
Oh, well, I don't know how it keeps clicking. I think it's because it's on a timer and I'm talking too much. So you would do this with your P card, but you need the sensitive expense form stack before you can purchase. Okay, computer, we talked about this.
Can't,
Oh.
you just can't.
You
just can't do our work.
I heard I had to
I'm
find my.
gonna get the stone tablet and it should.
Okay. All right, so HIP's gonna purchase through the punch out catalog after you've determined the correct one to purchase for you. Thanks for playing our game. Hopefully I didn't confuse everyone more. Okay, we're at time. We have 1 minute. Okay, so resources here, and then on your way out, please indicate future coffee and conversation topics that you'd like to learn about. So there's the little stickies are on the edge of this table here. So blue, you can do 3 votes. Blue is your first choice for the next topic. Green is your second choice and yellow would be your third choice. And we'll add it all up and plan accordingly. And then for anyone who's online, if you want to type your responses in the chat, we will. And that's all. And the next one is TBD. We might take the summer off. We
Yeah,
don't.
we'll definitely take this.
Oh, yeah, you won't see us till September. Is anybody on Zoom?
Yeah, Rhonda was.
Bye, Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda.
I saw her chatting.
Hi, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.